dark and difficult times lie ahead. Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
How you doing, folks? I'm going to make this video as quick as or as short as I can while trying to get all the information in. There is another video that follows up to this particular video. It may already have been posted, I'm not entirely sure just yet, but I will link to that in the description or in the end screen at the very end. Now, over the past few days, well, up until yesterday, which was the 22nd of August, so the 21st, the 20th, 21st and 22nd, I became the target of a systematic attack of abuse and harassment by some far left fruitcakes on Twitter. Now, I know, Twitter's full of them. I understand that. Twitter doesn't like anybody that has a differing opinion, which has been proven to me quite extensively in the last couple of days. But I started getting attacked because I was sticking up for somebody. Now, True Reporter, who's one of my subscribers, he's got his own channel. I'll put a link to that in the description below. He was being attacked by some of Mike Stuchbury's cronies. And if you know who Mike Stuchbury is, he's a far left fanatic, bit like Owen Jones. He's got quite a big following online. He's supposed to be a reporter, but he talks out of his arse like most of them do. But anyway, True Reporter put a comment on Mike Stuchbury's Twitter, or tweeted him, and all of a sudden started getting attacked by some far left cronies. Now, I went to help defend True Reporter, and in the process got myself targeted. Now, I can handle people throwing names at me, do you know what I mean? That doesn't bother me in the absolute slightest, do you know what I mean? I've been called all sorts of things throughout my life, and I don't really care. But it got to the point where at one point I was getting about 7 or 8 messages every minute for several hours, and it got to the point where it started to piss me off. Then it got to the point where, as you would expect from some far left nutcases, they start throwing in you're a homophobe, you're a racist, you're misogynistic, all the usual bullshit that they come out with. But this is on a public forum where people can see that these people are calling me these names. Again, generally I wouldn't give a shit if somebody wants to call me one of those. That's entirely down to them. They're wrong, but that's down to them. In this case, between them there's quite a lot of followers that they've got, and they also started to try and connect me with Tommy Robinson in some way. Now, I've never been to a Tommy Robinson event apart from the one that I filmed here, and I purposely did not film his speech because I'm not about the politics of it all. Do you know what I mean? The reason I went to the Tommy Robinson event here in Liverpool was to see how the police acted, and that's what my sole focus was on, the police and the crowds, nothing to do with Tommy Robinson. Now, saying things like that is making me a target. When you've got Mike Stuchbury with tens of thousands of followers, who are also, many of them, followers with the people that were attacking me the other day, and they start seeing things like that, then that puts me at risk. So I was holding my own, I think. True Reporter will be able to tell you, whether I was getting a beating from these lefties or not. I think I've done quite well in my responses and my retaliation. However, the problem is, and I'm not going to go through it all, but the problem is they then decided, and I think this is a tactic that they use to get people banned from these social media platforms. They have this little tactic where they message each other privately, or leave coded messages on tweets or on posts that everybody should mark as being hateful or abusive. For example, normally you would, if you made a spelling mistake in a text or in a tweet, You might follow it up with another text or a tweet with the correct spelling and a little asterisk next to it. Well, that was happening on some of these posts, and True Reporter pointed this out to me. And when I went back to look at the previous post from that same person, the word that they put on its own with a little asterisk wasn't referring to anything that they'd previously said. So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe this is their code. Maybe they, you know, well, I'm going to put this on there, and if you see it, then you report it. Anyway, I got reported to Twitter. 28 of my posts got reported to Twitter. Look, I asked somebody if he's got sexual interest in animals, one of these lefties, because they were asking me questions, which I didn't want to answer, quite simply. I had no reason to answer it. It was none of their business, and it had no relevance. So I thought, well, you know, you're asking me non-relevant questions, I'll ask you a non-relevant question. Do you have sexual interest in animals? That one I would have thought would have been flagged, but that one didn't get flagged, but a lot of others did, ones that you wouldn't expect to be flagged. So this is how I know this was a targeted attack. 28 tweets got reported specifically for hate, by the way. Now when you go and mark a tweet or a profile, when you want to report it, hate speech or hateful content is not a default setting. So these people have had to purposely click on the report button, or sorry, click on the show more button, click on the report button, click on the, go through a list of 6 or 7 options, click on the right one there, then go through a list of another 4 or 5 options and click on hate speech or hateful content in there. So they've purposely done this on all of these 28 tweets. Now I know that because it tells me underneath the tweet. In fact, you can see here, violating our rules against hateful conduct. So they've specifically gone through a process to get to this hateful conduct report situation. Now you can see here my Twitter account has been locked. Now, violating against our rules. Now the funny thing is, the tweets that they've actually marked as fucking hateful are absolutely ridiculous. For example, could have had bollock cancer and had them removed. Would that infer they are trans, you absolute retard? I've misspelt would, I've put that for some reason, but could have had bollock cancer and had them removed. Would that infer they are trans? Somebody was talking to me saying I was being homophobic and calling somebody trans when they're not. And that's not the case. I was just simply saying that somebody had no bollocks. You know, like you would say to somebody, oh, where's your balls? Do you know what I mean? Grow a pair of bollocks, will ya? That kind of thing. And that's exactly what it was. And that's exactly what that meant. But they've marked that as hateful conduct, as you can see there. Next one. Look, you moron. If you can't see how the policing and the government are making this country a shithole, then that's on you. If you don't agree with, then simply the simple answer is go away. How on earth can that be hateful conduct? You know, I'm telling somebody, if they don't like what I'm saying, then go away. That's not hateful conduct. Even by Twitter standards, that's not hateful conduct. Now, we move on. Somebody talking about my crest, my logo, saying something about, oh, pretending to be police. Obviously, I'm not pretending to be police. But he said something about the badge, and I said, what badge, you idiot? Who's claiming to be a copper? Well, your unintelligible word salad really knows no bounds, does it? Hateful conduct. Next. Thinking someone is a cow or a dog has no reflection of them being a woman, you moron. Misogyny is a dislike against women, not a dislike against a person who happens to be a woman. And that's true. Just because you call somebody a bitch, for example, it doesn't mean that they're a bitch because they're a woman. 99.9% of the time, it's going to be you're a bitch because you are a bitch as a person. But that got marked as hateful conduct. Next one. What do you mean I joined yours? You really are an idiot. You were commenting on my tweets, not the other way round, you complete imbecile. So he was basically saying to me I jumped onto his feed, which I hadn't. He was having a go at somebody else and I was tagged in it, and so I'm going to respond. But that was marked as hateful conduct. Next one. I was accused of being abusive to women. So I simply said, abuse to women, you're an absolute idiot grasping at anything you can to try and fit your narrative. I couldn't give a shit if someone's a woman, a man, black, white, gay, straight or whatever. If I have something to say to someone, I say it because of who they are, not what they are. Violating our rules against hateful conduct. Next, oh, it's competition. I know more people than you. No, you don't. I know more people than you. Yeah, well, my dad's bigger than your dad. Pathetic creature. Now, I'm sure if you read that again, you'll understand what that's about. You know, when you're in, you're in school, or one of your children are in primary school, and somebody goes, "Oh, I've got more sweets than you." No, you haven't. I've got more sweets than you. No, I've got more sweets than you. Well, my dad's bigger than your dad. You know, that childish kind of pathetic behaviour. Well, that's what this person was doing. So I took the piss and said, oh, I know more people than you. No, I know more people than you. And that's all that was. That was a dig at their patheticness. But that was marked as hateful conduct. Next, you think it's funny because his mum is no longer here. You really are showing your true colours, you piece of shit. Got no argument, so you're going to try and get a laugh out of the fact his mum is dead. You are a sick, twisted, pathetic, rankist bastard. Now, this is because the person knew that somebody he was talking to, their mum was dead. They knew that. But yet, in a tweet, they said something along the lines of, oh, you go on, run along and cry to your mutt, and then put some dots. And it's, if he'd got that far and thought, oh, actually, no, his mum's not here anymore, I'll delete it. But no, he'd done it on purpose to cause alarm to somebody and distress to somebody. So I simply said, you're sick and pathetic for taking a piss out of somebody's dead mum, out of order. But I'm getting done for hateful conduct. Next, exactly my point. Why not engage with others? Have you not bothered looking at the profile of someone you message, moron? Go and play with some Lego or something. Again, this guy is asking me questions that all the answers can be found on my profile. And I'm not going to sit there and be questioned by some leftist fucking prick. Do you know what I mean? Who thinks I don't know who thinks he's got something over me for some reason. Well, I'm not going to sit there and be interrogated by some knobhead. Do you know what I mean? So I said to him, go and have a look at somebody's, go and have a look at the profile. And that has been classed as hateful conduct. Next, this is about a picture. Somebody else actually posted a picture of one of the women that was being a bitch. And they ran it through one of the apps on their mobile phone, which makes it look old, like really wrinkly and saggy. And they posted it. So all I said was, it's what she sees in the mirror. She might look better on the outside, I'll not say more than that, but on the inside, she's a horrible, nasty, sweaty old hag who spews vile, indoctrinated hate at anyone who disagrees with her, makes her the perfect candidate to be a leftard. Now that's at a person. That's not at, as it says here, I didn't promote violence against or threaten or harass other people on the basis of their race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability or serious disease. None of that, constitutes their hateful conduct policy. None of what I've said. But yet they've marked it as hateful conduct. Next, still nothing to say, so resort to spell checking. What a sad prick. Now again, when you get people, when you make a spelling mistake and somebody corrects you underneath, in a comment, how annoying that is. Well, these fucking idiots were doing it on purpose, and I was going through all of my posts looking for mistakes and, writing it underneath the mistake, rectified. And I'm like, well, why are you doing that? It's pathetic. If you can't have an argument with somebody or a debate with somebody, and you have to resort to spell checking, then you're absolutely pathetic. Next one, why don't you go somewhere else and get off my timeline, you moron? Already told you, if you don't like my tweets, ignore them, you muppet. Again, that's not violence, it's not threatening, it's not harassing. It's not harassing people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin or any of that stuff. I'm just telling him to go away and leave me alone, which I did several times and they failed to. which constitutes harassment. Next one. So it's okay for you people to call me a homophobe, suggest I'm in league with Tommy Robinson, etc., but I'm not allowed to be of the opinion that you are a moron. That's just what I would expect from a leftard. Again, there's nothing in Twitter's rules about somebody's political persuasion. You know, it's not protected characteristic. So I've done nothing there that would violate Twitter's terms. Next one. Oh, well, if that's your story, you'd better stick to it. Talk to me about insults, laugh out loud. You and your little gang of idiots have done nothing but insult in an obvious targeted campaign. Your mummy must be so proud of you. Yet again, that's got nothing to do with any of these points that Twitter brings up is against their policy. Next one. You clearly can't understand context unless it fits your purpose, you little freak. And again, that's, you know, it doesn't violate their hateful conduct. Next, tag team, coming from the dumb blonde who hasn't even realised that she, her, it, that and her tag team have now targeted and been systematically abusing this guy for the past hour or more. Wow, you really are thick as shit. That's an opinion about somebody, but not based on their sexual orientation, national origin, gender identity or anything like that. So again, not hate speech or hateful conduct. And another one, you made... So the next one was, your friends are trying to backtrack. Doesn't surprise me in the least now. Go away, you cretinous moron. They've marked that specifically as hateful conduct. Next, what's that got to do with how many followers someone knows, you moron? Again, I can't remember the conversation, the context that was in regards to the conversation, but it's been specifically marked as hateful conduct. Next, threatening, because I was told I was being threatening. So threatening, wow, another assumption / outright lie. What threats? Let me guess, you won't provide evidence of the threats, just like you failed to provide any evidence of me being a homophobe. You cretin. Again, that's not hateful conduct at all. Simply me defending myself. Next, what's bordering on libel and harassment? Damn, you are more of an idiot than I gave you credit for. Asking a question can't be libel. And it can't. Libel's a statement, isn't it? It's, you know, it's not a question. Can't say to somebody, like I did, I said, do you have, sexual interest in animals? And I was told that's bordering on harassment and libel, which is not. But that was categorised as hateful conduct. Next, the only people who call men bitches are bitches. If anybody disagrees with that, let me know in the comments. But the only people that call men bitches are bitches themselves. But they got marked as hateful conduct. Next, funny that, isn't it? I mean, the fact that the blonde bulldog accused me of photoshopping that image when clearly it's posted by someone else, yet again making yourself look a twat. I was being blamed for uploading this photo of this woman that had been run through an app on somebody's mobile phone, when clearly, just by looking at the post or above it, you see the name of the person who posted it, and it wasn't me. So I'm being targeted. I'm back and, I'm arguing back and saying, look, it ain't me, sort yourself out, and that's marked as hateful conduct. The next one, I was called a misogynist. I was called a misogynist. So I said, but I have my very own bitch. So how can I be a misogynist if I've got my own bitch here at home who do the cleaning and cooking for me? Clearly, that's a joke. Clearly, that's a joke. But that got marked as hateful conduct as well. The next one, what the hell are you, Photoshop, what the hell are you talking about, you monstrous cretin? Feel good about yourself with your little gang of leftards. Targeted attacks like this is harassment, you dumb blonde bint. Now again, based on Twitter's rules, you cannot promote violence against, threaten, harass other people on the basis of their race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability or serious disease. It says nothing about hair colour there. Next one, it's not going to matter what I say, is it? It's the pack mentality with you and the need to show off in front of your peers, which is making you act like a total idiot. You do not intimidate me, you do not worry me. You are a nobody with an unhealthy infatuation with me. That got marked as hateful conduct. Just let that sink in for a minute. That got marked as hateful conduct. I think we've got 2 or 3 more. This one got marked as hateful conduct, believe it or not. Oh dear God. I pray to you and ask for forgiveness for these cretins, as they know not what they do. They have been blinded by hate and have the blinkers of leftism is upon them. Forgive them, dear Lord, and welcome them with warm embrace into your buxom bosom and anoint them with love. Hateful conduct, guys, for that. Now, I know these ones, this is only, they've been reported, and this is just Twitter saying to me, these are the ones that have been reported. But it's ridiculous that these leftards think that they can get away with this, with, you know, marking these as hateful conduct. Next one, oh, looky here, trying to draw me in a situation where you think I'm going to say something homophobic. So you have something for all the rest of you leftards to actually use against me. You must think I'm an idiot. At this point, this is talking about the Owen Jones video that I uploaded. Somebody asking me what I find so disgusting about two men having sex. I simply said that it wasn't my thing. I said, I don't mind watching two girls have sex, but watching two blokes isn't my bag. I'm sorry. And that's all I said. And the guy then started to try and draw me in, saying, "Why, you know, what's so disgusting about two men having sex?" And, you know, blah, blah, blah. Which I'm not going to fall into that trap of somebody trying to trip me up on purpose, trying to get me to say something that's going to back up their argument. And the last one says the guy who looks like he's sitting on an extra wide butt plug, which was this guy, which if you look at his face, you know, he kind of does look like he's sitting on a butt plug. But going back, so all of those have been reported. 28 tweets have been reported. So I went to Twitter and I made an appeal. I appealed against every single one of them. I received an email saying our support team will take a look at the information you provided for your appeal. We will respond by email as soon as possible. Blah, blah, blah. Now then, my account is still locked, by the way. Twitter says our support team have reviewed your appeal request for account at PAP _YouTube and found the following to not be in violation of their hateful conduct. Now check this one out. This one is the one that is not in violation of hateful conduct. But I have my very own bitch. So how can I be a misogynist if I've got my own bitch here at home who do the cleaning and cooking for me? Now again, clearly that's a joke, but somebody just seeing that without understanding the context to it, or the post before it, wouldn't know that. But they've said that that's fine. They've said that that's absolutely fine. However, they've said that all of the others are not fine. For example, what badge you idiot who's claiming to be a copper while your unintelligible word salad really knows no bounds. That has still been upheld as hateful conduct. How is that misogyny? Thinking someone is a cow or a dog is no reflection of them being a woman, you moron. Misogyny is a dislike against women, not a dislike against a person who happens to be a woman. This is a conversation, this is discourse. But yet, Twitter have upheld the hateful conduct on that one as well. And I'm not going to read through them all again. You've heard them all once. If you want to go back over and listen to them again and, you know, and let it sink in for a bit, what they've actually, you know, the posts that they've actually said are hateful conduct, then, you know, please do that. I would like to know your opinions, by the way, in the comments. If you think that I've, if any of these tweets, if you think any of these tweets are misogynistic, homophobic, racist, anything like that, please let me know in the comments. Or even if you think that they're threatening or inciting in any way, let me know, because I don't see that they are. But I'd like to hear your opinions, as always. But these are, you know, these have all been upheld so far. So 27 of these have been upheld out of 28 tweets. One of them was allowed. I've reappealed these 27, and I've done that last night. Done that late last night. And I'm still waiting to hear from Twitter. Now, it's ridiculous, I know it is. I'm not really bothered about Twitter, to be honest, but I am bothered about these little leftards thinking that they can get away with doing this to people. So what they've done is they've reported my tweets. What I want to ask you guys is if you can help me out a little bit by reporting their profiles. Now, I'm going to link to these people's Twitter accounts in the description below. If you have a Twitter account, please, if you have a few minutes, go and click on each one of the links in the description for these Twitter accounts and just go and report their profile for being hateful, because that's what they're doing. They're targeted. It's a targeted harassment. Police have been called and informed about this. I wanted to do that because I wanted to see just how much, or just how important this kind of thing really is. I mean, to me, this is, you know, it's harassment, it's online harassment, malicious communications, etc. Calling me things that I'm not. It's like me calling other people something they're not. If they're from a protected class, I'm going to get a knock on my front door or a foot through my front door. So I wanted to know what the police were going to do, seeing as a white working class male, British male, has a similar problem. I wanted to see what they were going to do about it. The link to that response from my report of a crime, I'm going to link to in the description below or at the end of this video on the end card. If you haven't seen it already, please go and watch it. But this one, I'm just asking you to please, and I'm going to show you what you need to do. This is a different account, this is a different profile, not the PAP profile. Now what you do is you go to one of these, or you click on one of the links down below, brings up their profile, you click on this button here, and you go to report. Now you've got all of these options. Now this is the same when you report a tweet. You have to do that, then you have to go to the tweets are abusive or hateful, and then you have to click on something else as well. So all you need to do is, out of all of these, I would choose their tweets are abusive or hateful, because it's the only thing that would fit, because the profile info and images, as far as I know, aren't including abusive or hateful content in the image or their profile text. Don't seem to be pretending to be someone else, and they're certainly not pretending to be me. I don't think their account is hacked. It's not suspicious or spam. It's typical behaviour from leftists. And I'm not interested in this account, just says, well, block them then. Do you know what I mean? So it needs to be this one. Their tweets are abusive or hateful. And then we've got being disrespectful or offensive, posting private information, engaging in targeted harassment. There we go. Engaging in targeted harassment. Okay. And that's the one that you need to click on all of these profiles in the description. As many people as possible, I would appreciate it if you can report them. Let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate knowing who's got my back. And yeah, I mean, this video's gone on longer than I wanted it to. I do apologise. I am going to leave it there. I've sort of explained to you what the situation is without going really into depth and going through all the tweets and everything else. I've shown you what they've done to me. I've tried to appeal it. Twitter have said no bollocks. We're only allowing one of those 28 to go through, which was probably the worst one out of the lot anyway. I've re-appealed, but I still can't get back onto Twitter. Again, I'm not that fussed, but it's not about Twitter. This is about those idiots who think that they can gang up on people and get away with it. Okay, they may have a couple of thousand people between them. There's 7,500 or 7,250 people subscribed to this channel. I respect each and every one of you, and I'm grateful to each and every one of you. If we can get as many people as possible just to click on those links below and go and report those profiles and teach these leftards a lesson. Thank you in advance. Again, let's have a chat in the comments. Don't forget to check out the video where I get a phone call back from the police regarding the report of harassment, and I think you'll find that quite interesting as well. So thanks very much for watching, and until next time,
good night all.